Good morning, traders. Welcome to Trade Zone's Asian session update. It's Joseph here from Eightcap. So we'll just start with some of the moves this morning. We're seeing some higher moves from risk currencies to the yen, and we're seeing lower, slightly lower moves from risk currencies to the dollar. So the dollar had a pretty decent end to the previous week. We can just see here there was a push higher, and it didn't really hold out, but it did end the week firmer after Thursday's recovery, and we saw some some decent moves lower from the key risk markets. The euro was flat, and the pound did move higher. So with the pound, we'll be looking at resistance at that 16.26 point, and we need to see if we can see that momentum continue to push for the pound. We can see this nice trend that's currently still underway, and it's the same with the pound yen at the moment. We saw a very strong session Friday, and we've seen this across the yen pairs as they had a solid end to the week. The Aussie did lag, but the pound continues to really be a shining light. We can see that strong break higher above that 170 point, so we're trading at 171. We're not sure if the Bank of Japan is going to see that as an issue. We're still seeing the dollar yen above 147 this morning, but we are still a fair way away from that 151 area that saw the central bank put in intervention. So if we do see continued moves higher this week, if we get back to that 151, 150, close to 152, then we'll be looking to see if the Bank of Japan acts. But at this stage, they might not be so ready to get involved. But we do remember last week when we saw that strong move lower after they got involved with the market, after we nearly touched that 152 point. So stocks, despite currencies being a little bit mixed, stocks finished the week on a very strong note. So we can see here the US 30, there's a really strong move. We saw 2.59% added. We saw 2.46 on the S&P 500 and 2.87% on the Nasdaq. So Elon Musk now owns Twitter, so he's taken over that. Now, obviously with him being the owner of Tesla Motors, Tesla vehicles, GM has suspended advertising due to that fact. So we'll see if that could affect any other car companies as well, with his relationship with those two companies now. And also the EU has warned Elon Musk that he has to play by their rules in terms of speech, with Twitter being such a broad platform for people speaking. So it will be interesting to see what happens moving forward with Twitter, and how it all settles down. Now, this morning we have daylight shift savings shift over the weekend mainly for Europe at this stage, so the pound, the EU, and for Switzerland. So just remember that will push things forward by another hour. For the European Open here, especially if you're an Australian trader, that will become 7 p.m. But no changes yet for the US markets, but they will be removing daylight savings in time to come. And so just remember the London session will start at 7 p.m. tonight. That's Australian Eastern Daylight Time. If you're observing daylight savings in your part of the country here. Now, this week we have a fair bit coming up. We have the Australian cash rate. It's expected to rise to 2.85%, and the RBA statement. There's bank holidays as well on Tuesday for the euro. There's French and Italian bank holidays, and we have ISM manufacturing data, JOLTS job openings data on Wednesday morning, and New Zealand employment data as well on Wednesday. Now, that's when things start to get a little bit bigger in the week. So there's a Japanese bank holiday as well on Thursday, but we have the FOMC. Rates are expected to rise to 4% in the US, and traders will be looking at that statement, and the comments coming out of the Fed about how inflation is at the moment. They have been hawkish previously, so we'll see how the markets do react to that, and if we do see that 4% rate rise, how the markets react to that. We are really looking for a pullback on the US 30. Just this trend is really running away to a degree now. Just in this period here, we've seen 8%, 8.6% added, a lot of points put on. So we're wondering to see now when we are going to see that pullback. We want to see a higher low and then a new higher high, just to signal that this trend is going to be healthy and continue. Right now it's getting a little parabolic on the daily, so we'll see what happens this week after the FOMC, and if it does push even further, or if we do see a pullback. I want to see a pullback with a higher low just to show that a normal trend pattern. CPI is coming out in Switzerland on Thursday as well, and we have the Bank of England on Thursday night as well, so from 11 o'clock and local time, and rates are expected to go up to 3% there. It'll be interesting to see how the market takes that. Their statement as well from the Bank of England, but there's a lot of issues at the moment in the UK with their economy, and the last thing they really need on top of everything they're facing right now is continued high interest rates. So it is a real tough situation in the UK at the moment, and we'll see what the Bank of England says in the future, if they are going to continue to raise rates and how inflation is tracking there. But definitely higher interest rate moves is going to continue to put pressure on normal everyday people in the UK. So, and just to cap off the week, it's a pretty busy week. We have non-farm payrolls coming out on Friday, so unemployment is tipped to go up to increase to 3.6%. The payrolls are expected lower at 200k on the previous 263k, and average earnings are expected to come in steady at 0.3%. So any big difference there could also cause some movements, especially in regards with the US dollar index at the moment. So we have seen this move lower, but if we do see a new push higher, we are hoping to see a continued push lower just to help drive risk markets and help keep them going. But like I said with the US 30, it does look pretty straight and higher right now, but with some of the other risk currencies, they are still remaining in pretty solid looking up legs, and we just want to see if they can take that next step and break those highs just to show a normal trend and to push higher. So the euro, for instance, we're looking for a test or break of that 101.29 area, and with the pound, that's really a test and a break of that 17.01 area, and a close above that 17, just to show that this trend is still going to continue higher. Now, so to finish, oil. So oil had a bit of a range break last week. We want to see if that can continue higher, but we do feel that if oil does really start to push higher, that could put pressure on stocks, just to the CPI factor that oil does induce. And gold at the moment is struggling a bit after that little mini push higher last week. We're seeing a move down, and the range sort of looks like it's continuing. And we just want to touch on a couple. The France 40 at the moment is sailing along very nicely. This next resistance point is at 6339, and also on the ASX coming up towards the start of the week. Just update that. We can see Friday's strong finish on the futures, but if we do see continued moves higher, it's a fair way above, but we'll be looking at that 7,000 point as the next big round number key resistance if we did see a continuation. So just finally, we want to touch on cryptos. So cryptos had a choppy weekend. They're slightly lower this morning, but we are still looking at them from a positive point of view, and we want to see again, just like with some of the indices, if we do see some some selling this week, if we do get a turnaround and new higher highs, just to show that this trend will continue. Like I said though, after we saw those breakouts last week, crypto's still pretty good, and we just want to see if buyers can continue to take those next steps. The worry would be if we get a real tight consolidation that starts to fan out into a range, and then if we did have a good break lower, we want to see buyers really come back in with a lot of demand. BNB had a really good weekend. That's Binance Coin. We saw some really strong buying over the weekend. This morning it's slightly lower, but we saw from Friday till Sunday, buyers put on close to 10% in 3 sessions, so quite positive there. So that's really it for this week. Just keep an eye on some of those key data that's coming out. So the FOMC, the Bank of England, and non-farm payrolls to cap off Friday. So from Thursday we have a pretty busy week coming up, and we could see plenty of moves, depending on what kind of statements we get and what kind of if rates meet expectations, or we doubt they're going to beat expectations, but they could come in less than expected. Now that could drive risk markets, so we'll see if we do get any surprises in those rate decisions or in the statements themselves. So that's it. We hope you have a fantastic trading week. All the best as well for today's trade, and just remember we do run guest analysts during the week. They do some fantastic webinars, and there's a lot of great information there. So please check out eightcap.com to register for that, or have a look at our YouTube channels there and our Twitter for more information on that. So again, have a great week. Thanks very much for your time this morning, and good trading, and bye for now.